What if I told you that 7 simple habits you're doing right now could be silently stealing years from your life? Today, a 91-year-old man reveals the exact 7 habits he quit at age 70 and why doctors believe these changes added over 2 decades to his life. These aren't complicated medical routines or expensive treatments. They're everyday habits most seniors never think to question, habits that feel completely normal until you realize the damage they're causing. And habit number 5 is going to surprise you because it's something most people actually believe is good for them. His own doctor was shocked when he learned the truth. Stay with me through this entire video because every single habit I'm about to share could be the difference between thriving in your later years or struggling through them. At 70 years old, Harold from Tennessee received news that shook him to his core. His doctor warned him that his heart, his energy, and his mental sharpness were all declining faster than they should, and if he didn't make changes immediately, he might not see 80. Harold didn't reach for pills or complicated programs. Instead, he eliminated 7 daily habits that he'd never questioned before. 21 years later, at 91, Harold still drives himself to church, tends his vegetable garden every morning, and plays chess with his grandchildren every single Sunday afternoon. Habit 1: sitting for hours without moving. Here is something that might disturb you. Most American seniors spend over 9 hours every single day sitting down, and groundbreaking research now shows that this single habit may actually be more dangerous to your health than smoking cigarettes. That's not an exaggeration. The American Heart Association has published extensive studies showing that prolonged sitting increases your risk of heart disease by an alarming 147%. And here's the truly frightening part. This increased risk applies even to people who exercise regularly. You could walk every morning and still be destroying your cardiovascular system if you spend the rest of your day planted in a chair. Researchers at the Mayo Clinic have given this phenomenon a name. They call it sitting disease, and they consider it one of the most serious yet overlooked health threats facing older Americans today. When you sit for extended periods, your body undergoes changes that you cannot see or feel until the damage is already done. Your blood flow slows dramatically, especially in your legs, creating conditions perfect for dangerous blood clots to form. Your muscles begin to weaken and atrophy from lack of use, and your metabolism drops to a crawl, making weight management nearly impossible. Harold used to watch television for 4 or 5 hours straight every single evening after dinner. He never once considered that his legs were slowly losing circulation or that his heart was paying a price for every hour he spent motionless in his recliner. It wasn't until his doctor showed him the research that Harold understood he was literally sitting himself into an early grave. The consequences of ignoring this habit are severe and often irreversible. Continued prolonged sitting accelerates muscle loss at a rate that becomes extremely difficult to reverse after age 70. Blood clots can form silently in your legs and travel to your lungs or brain with devastating consequences. Your cardiovascular system weakens progressively, and once that decline reaches a certain point, no amount of exercise can fully restore what you've lost. The research is absolutely clear on this point. Sitting for extended periods without interruption is fundamentally incompatible with healthy aging, and yet millions of seniors do it every single day without giving it a second thought. The solution is remarkably simple, and you can start implementing it within the next hour. Stand up and walk for just 2 minutes every single hour that you're awake. Set a timer on your phone or your watch. When it goes off, get up, walk to another room, step outside briefly, or simply pace around your living area for 120 seconds. Tiny interruption, requiring almost no effort at all, can reduce your sitting-related health risks by nearly 33%, according to research from Columbia University. Don't wait until your legs feel numb or your energy completely disappears. Start this simple practice today, and your heart will thank you for years to come. Habit 2: eating after 8 p.m. Do you often find yourself wandering to the kitchen late at night, grabbing a snack and telling yourself it really won't matter because it's just a small bite? This habit seems completely harmless, and that's exactly what makes it so dangerous. Harvard Medical School has conducted extensive research revealing that eating late at night fundamentally disrupts your body's circadian rhythm in ways that affect far more than just your sleep. When you eat after 8 p.m., your body experiences higher blood sugar spikes, increased fat storage, and greater stress on your cardiovascular system, even if the food you're eating is perfectly healthy. Your internal clock expects your digestive system to be resting during nighttime hours, and when you force it to work instead, the consequences accumulate silently over months and years. Constance from Ohio learned this lesson the hard way after decades of what she considered a harmless bedtime routine. Every night before sleep, she enjoyed a bowl of whole grain cereal with milk, genuinely believing she was making a healthy choice. She never connected this habit to her rising morning blood sugar readings or her increasing difficulty maintaining a healthy weight despite eating sensibly during the day. When her doctor finally asked her about her eating schedule and suggested she eliminate all food after 7 p.m., Constance was skeptical. But within 6 weeks of making this single change, her fasting blood sugar numbers dropped significantly, and she noticed she was waking up with more energy than she'd had in years. Late-night eating forces your organs to perform demanding metabolic work during the hours when your body desperately needs to focus on repair and restoration. Your pancreas produces insulin when it should be resting. Your liver processes nutrients when it should be detoxifying. Your digestive tract churns when it should be still. This internal confusion accelerates metabolic decline and promotes weight gain that becomes increasingly stubborn and difficult to reverse as you age. The research published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology demonstrates clearly that the same exact food eaten at 9 p.m. produces worse metabolic outcomes than if eaten at 6 p.m. The timing of your meals matters just as much as what you're eating. The practical solution requires no willpower beyond a simple decision. Finish your last meal of the day by 7 p.m. at the latest. Give your body a full 12-hour overnight fast, from dinner until breakfast. This allows your digestive system to complete its work and shift into repair mode, the mode that keeps your metabolism healthy and your organs functioning optimally. You don't need special foods or complicated meal plans. You simply need to stop eating earlier. Tonight is the perfect night to make this change. Set a reminder, clear your kitchen, and let your body rest the way nature intended. Habit 3. Holding on to grudges and anger. That resentment you've been carrying around for years, that anger towards someone who wronged you, that bitterness you just can't seem to release, it isn't just hurting your peace of mind. It's physically damaging your heart in measurable, documented ways. Cardiologists at Johns Hopkins University have studied the relationship between chronic anger and cardiovascular health for decades, and their findings are impossible to ignore. When you hold on to grudges and refuse to forgive, your body maintains elevated cortisol levels continuously. This stress hormone raises your blood pressure, promotes inflammation throughout your body, and significantly increases your risk of heart attack and stroke. One major study showed that people who harbor chronic unforgiveness have a 20% higher risk of serious cardiovascular events compared to those who practice letting go. Raymond from Michigan experienced this connection between emotional pain and physical health in a way he never expected. For 15 years, he hadn't spoken a single word to his brother because of a bitter family dispute over their parents' estate. Raymond convinced himself that his anger was justified and that cutting off his brother was the right thing to do. Meanwhile, his blood pressure kept climbing year after year, requiring stronger interventions each time he visited his doctor. It wasn't until a cardiologist asked him directly about sources of stress in his life that Raymond made the connection. Within 3 months of reaching out to his brother and beginning the process of reconciliation, Raymond's blood pressure readings improved so dramatically that his doctor was genuinely amazed. The physiological mechanism behind this is well understood by medical science. Chronic anger and resentment keep your nervous system locked in fight or flight mode continuously, flooding your bloodstream with stress hormones that were designed for short-term emergencies, not permanent residence in your body. This constant state of alert wears down your heart muscle, damages your blood vessels, weakens your immune response, and accelerates aging at the cellular level. Every day you choose to hold on to bitterness is a day your body pays the price in ways you cannot see until serious damage has been done. The person you're refusing to forgive may have moved on entirely while you remain trapped in a prison of your own making. Here is your simple solution, and you can start implementing it right now. Choose one grudge, just one single resentment that you've been carrying, and make a conscious decision today to release it. You don't need to contact the person who hurt you. You don't need their apology or their acknowledgement. Forgiveness is something you do for yourself, not for them. Write a letter expressing everything you feel and then burn it or tear it up. Say out loud to yourself in a private moment, "I am letting this go for my own health and my own peace." Every day you hold on to bitterness is a day you're choosing stress over longevity, inflammation over healing. Release it now, starting with just one burden, and feel the weight begin to lift. Habit 4. Skipping breakfast. How many mornings do you grab just a cup of coffee and tell yourself you'll eat something later when you feel hungry? This seemingly innocent habit is far more dangerous than most seniors realize, and the research supporting this is both extensive and alarming. A major study published by the American College of Cardiology followed thousands of adults over many years and found that those who regularly skip breakfast have an 87% higher risk of death from cardiovascular disease compared to those who eat morning meals consistently. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention emphasizes breakfast as absolutely essential for maintaining stable blood sugar levels and sustained energy throughout the entire day. When you skip this crucial meal, you're not saving calories or giving your body a break. You're triggering a cascade of stress responses that damage your health in ways that accumulate over time. Gloria from Pennsylvania skipped breakfast for over 30 years. Firmly believing that this habit helped her control her weight and that she simply wasn't hungry in the morning anyway. She never connected her decades of morning fasting to her persistent fatigue, her inability to concentrate after noon, or her tendency to overeat at dinner when her willpower finally collapsed after a day of deprivation. It wasn't until her granddaughter, who was studying nutrition, explained the science behind breakfast that Gloria finally understood what she'd been doing to herself. Now 76, Gloria eats a small but nutritious breakfast every single morning and says she has more stable energy throughout the day than she's had since her 40s. When you skip breakfast, your body interprets this as a signal that food is scarce and responds by entering a stress state designed to help you survive famine. Your cortisol levels spike to mobilize stored energy. Your blood sugar becomes unstable, swinging between highs and lows that affect your mood, your thinking, and your cravings. Your metabolism actually slows down because your body is trying to conserve resources, which makes maintaining a healthy weight even harder. This pattern of stress and instability sets you up for poor food choices later in the day when your willpower is exhausted and your body is desperately demanding quick energy. The research consistently shows that breakfast skippers consume more total calories and make worse nutritional choices than consistent breakfast eaters. The solution could not be simpler. Eat something nutritious within 1 hour of waking up every single morning. Even if you don't feel particularly hungry, your breakfast doesn't need to be large or elaborate. A handful of nuts with a piece of fruit works perfectly. A small portion of yogurt with berries provides excellent nutrition. 2 eggs take just minutes to prepare and deliver protein that sustains you for hours. The key is consistency rather than quantity. Your body needs to learn that fuel is coming reliably every morning so it can stop operating in stress mode. Tomorrow morning, don't reach for just coffee and postpone eating. Feed your body first, then have your coffee, and notice how much better you feel by lunchtime. Habit 5. Staying up past midnight. Here's the habit I mentioned at the beginning of this video. The one that surprises almost everyone, because most people think it's either harmless or even productive. Staying up late at night, even if you sleep in the next morning to get your full hours, is quietly damaging your brain and your heart in ways that researchers are only now beginning to fully understand. Sleep scientists at Stanford University have conducted extensive studies specifically on adults over 60 and found that those who regularly stay up past midnight show significantly higher rates of cognitive decline, memory problems, and eventually dementia compared to those who maintain earlier sleep schedules. The National Institute on Aging confirms that late-night sleeping disrupts the deep restorative sleep cycles that your brain absolutely requires for memory consolidation, toxin clearance, and cellular repair. Walter from Colorado was a proud night owl for most of his adult life, staying up until 1 a.m. most nights, reading, watching documentaries, or simply enjoying the quiet hours when no one needed anything from him. He slept until 9 a.m. every morning, so he figured he was getting plenty of rest and doing no harm to himself. But as Walter moved through his 70s, his memory started slipping in ways that frightened him. He forgot appointments. He misplaced important items constantly. He struggled to recall names he'd known for decades. When his doctor connected these symptoms directly to his sleep schedule and explained the science behind it, Walter was stunned. He had never imagined that the timing of his sleep could matter as much as the duration. Your brain performs its most critical maintenance and repair work during specific hours of the night, roughly between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m., when deep sleep cycles naturally occur if you're aligned with your body's biological rhythms. During these precious hours, your glymphatic system activates, literally washing toxins and waste products out of your brain tissue. Memory consolidation happens during deep sleep, transferring important information from short-term storage into permanent long-term memory. Cellular repair occurs throughout your nervous system. When you stay up past midnight, you miss the optimal window for these essential processes, even if you sleep late the next morning. Your brain simply cannot catch up or make up for what was lost, and the damage accumulates night after night, year after year. The solution requires adjusting your evening routine rather than drastically changing your lifestyle. Begin your wind-down process by 9:30 p.m. every single night. Turn off screens, dim your lights, and engage in calming activities like reading a physical book or gentle stretching. Aim to be actually asleep, not just in bed, but genuinely asleep, by 10:30 p.m. This schedule gives your brain access to those critical early night deep sleep phases that protect your memory and cognitive function. Tonight, turn off the television earlier than usual. Put away your phone before 9 p.m. Give your brain the repair time it desperately needs. Your memory and your mental clarity in the years ahead depend on the choice you make tonight. Habit 6. Isolating yourself at home. Staying home alone day after day might feel safe, comfortable, and perfectly reasonable, especially as you get older and find social activities more tiring or complicated to arrange. But medical science has now proven beyond any doubt that chronic isolation is one of the most dangerous things you can do for your overall health. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has officially classified loneliness as a serious public health risk, directly linking it to a 29% increased risk of heart disease and a 32% increased risk of stroke. Researchers at Harvard University have found that the health effects of chronic social isolation are comparable to smoking 15 cigarettes every single day. This is not a metaphor or an exaggeration. The physiological damage caused by loneliness is real, measurable, and potentially deadly. Evelyn from Georgia understood this reality only after experiencing it herself. Following her husband's death, she gradually withdrew from nearly every social connection she had maintained throughout her life. She stopped attending church services. She declined invitations from friends. She let weeks pass without meaningful conversation with anyone outside brief exchanges with store clerks. Evelyn told herself she just needed time alone to grieve. But the isolation continued far beyond grieving. Within a year, her health declined dramatically. Her immune system weakened, her blood pressure rose, her thinking became foggy and slow. Her doctor eventually told her directly that loneliness was making her sick, not just sad, but physically ill in ways that would shorten her life if she didn't reconnect with other people. Human beings are fundamentally social creatures whose biology depends on regular connection with others. When you isolate yourself, your body interprets this as a danger signal and responds by activating chronic inflammation throughout your system. Your immune function decreases because your body diverts resources toward perceived survival threats. Your cardiovascular system experiences increased stress as loneliness triggers the same physiological responses as physical danger. Even your cognitive function suffers because human brains require social stimulation to maintain neural connections and prevent decline. The scientific evidence is overwhelming. Your body was designed for connection, and without it, systems begin failing in ways that accelerate aging and increase mortality risk significantly. The practical solution is both simple and immediately actionable. Schedule at least one meaningful social interaction every single day and hold yourself accountable to keeping that commitment. A phone call absolutely counts. A conversation with your neighbor over the fence counts. A video chat with your grandchildren counts. Join a club, enroll in a community class, volunteer at a local organization, or simply make it a daily practice to sit on your front porch and wave at people walking by, inviting conversation when it naturally arises. Loneliness is not a feeling you have to accept as normal. Pick up your phone right now and call someone you haven't talked to in a while. Your health depends on connection far more than you might realize. Habit 7. Ignoring small body changes. When did you last notice a new ache, an unusual sensation, or a small change in how your body functions and dismiss it as just getting older? This tendency to ignore minor symptoms and attribute every change to normal aging is one of the most dangerous habits seniors develop, and it costs lives every single year. Physicians at the Mayo Clinic consistently emphasize that early detection is the single greatest factor in surviving serious illness of almost every type. Those small changes your body produces, unexplained weight loss, persistent fatigue that doesn't improve with rest, subtle changes in bathroom habits, mild pains that linger longer than they should. These are often your body's early warning signals that something needs attention. Dismissing them as normal aging delays diagnosis until conditions that were easily treatable become complicated or even fatal. Franklin from Arizona learned this lesson in a way that likely saved his life. For several months, he noticed he was more tired than usual, needing to rest during activities that never challenged him before. He assumed he was simply aging and that fatigue was natural for a man in his late 70s. He almost didn't mention it to his doctor during a routine checkup because it seemed too minor to discuss. Fortunately, something prompted him to bring it up anyway. His doctor ordered additional tests based on that single comment, and they discovered a treatable condition at an early stage. His doctor told him directly that if Franklin had waited another 6 months to mention his symptoms, the outcome could have been dramatically different. That offhand comment during a routine appointment may have added years to Franklin's life. The consequences of ignoring your body's signals can be severe and irreversible. Conditions that could be managed easily when caught early often become complicated emergencies when allowed to progress undetected. Cancer that responds well to treatment in early stages becomes far more difficult to address once it spreads. Heart conditions that could be controlled with simple lifestyle changes become serious when ignored until a crisis occurs. Your body is constantly communicating with you, sending signals about what it needs and what might be wrong. When you dismiss every signal as just aging, you're essentially refusing to listen to the most important diagnostic tool you have available, which is your own lived experience inside your own body. Your solution is straightforward and requires only a small investment of time and attention. Start keeping a simple health journal where you write down any new symptoms, changes, or sensations you notice, no matter how minor they seem. Include the date, a brief description, and whether the symptom continues or resolves. Bring this journal with you to every single doctor's appointment and review it with your physician. This simple practice transforms you from a passive patient into an active advocate for your own health. It helps your doctor identify patterns you might not recognize and catch problems while they're still small. Don't wait until something minor becomes something serious. Start paying attention to what your body tells you today and take every signal seriously enough to write it down. Harold didn't transform his life through complicated programs, expensive treatments, or radical lifestyle overhauls. He simply identified 7 everyday habits that were silently destroying his health and made the conscious decision to stop them. He stopped sitting for hours without moving. He stopped eating late at night. He released the grudges that were poisoning his heart. He started eating breakfast every morning. He adjusted his sleep schedule to protect his brain. He prioritized social connection over comfortable isolation, and he began paying attention to what his body was telling him instead of dismissing every change as normal aging. 21 years later, these simple choices have given Harold a life filled with energy, clarity, and joy that most people half his age would envy. If this information resonated with you, share this video with someone you care about who needs to hear these truths today. You might be giving them the gift of extra years with their family and loved ones. Drop a comment below and tell me which of these 7 habits you're committed to stopping first, because I genuinely want to know, and your comment might inspire someone else watching to take action too. If you found value in this video, tap that like button to help more seniors discover this life-changing information, and subscribe to this channel so you never miss another video that could transform your health and extend your years. Your best days aren't behind you. They're waiting for you to claim them, starting with the choices you make today.